absolutely disgraceful. People of Oaks for coming in.
I think humour, certainly in the early days of the Troubles, was essential. There wasn't an awful lot of humour going about. There was myself and Mick Fettridge and Jean Fitzpatrick would have been up and down the clubs and pubs and hotels in Northern Ireland at the time. And I think it was a release mechanism for people to go into these packed clubs, smoky bars, smoky hotels, and to be humoured, to be entertained, to laugh, and maybe forget about what was going on in that big bad country of Northern Ireland for an hour or an hour and a half. And, you know, I felt really proud to be part of that. Well, doing comedy during the Troubles could at times be pretty difficult. And especially so whenever maybe the particular venue that you had to attend that particular Friday or Saturday night maybe had an incident on the previous Wednesday or Tuesday night where someone was maybe shot or kneecapped. I remember a couple of different occasions where this had happened, and I'd rang the owner and said, obviously with this happening during a week, you know, I'm sure the show will be cancelled. He said, absolutely not. He says, the show will go on. He says, we've sold all the tickets, and you come down, you do the show, and that's it. You don't pick your audience, they pick you. You come and do the venue, you come and do the show. One of the classic ones that I encountered was over in North Belfast, and there was 4 IRA men come up onto the stage, fully tooled up with submachine guns, handguns, and they're reading a statement out to Margaret Thatcher about the defiance of the Republican movement, and they weren't going to be beaten, and this was during the hunger strike. And I was really panicking, I have to say, at that stage. So they were on there for about 10 minutes, read this statement out, the place erupted, it was thunderous applause, and guy got up on the stage, says, now ladies and gentlemen, your comedian for the night, John McBlain. And I'm thinking, how do you beat that? How do you go on there and beat what just went before my eyes? I couldn't believe it. But I did. I got up and I knocked them dead. I just got stuck into them, gave it the full welly, had a brilliant night, and I came away and I thought, I hope I never have to see that again. That was actually the one and only time that I was scared out of my wits. I always had it in the back of my head that you're going into an area that's quite risque. Could be terrorists sitting there watching and laughing their heads off of your jokes, comedy, or whatever you were doing there. But I couldn't dictate who's in the audience. I couldn't go down to Mr. A or Mr. B and say, look here, I am not entertaining you because you're the head man of the UDA, the UVF, the IRA, the INLA. Because no doubt I probably wouldn't have got out of the club alive for a start. So I was always wary of some of the clubs and pubs that I was doing. There was top men in some of these organisations that were orchestrating terrorism and trouble. But it was out of my remit to do anything about that. I was there really to entertain everybody and anybody who was in that crowd. I remember one day I was up at the Sinn Féin headquarters, taking a couple of photographs, and I had no mirror with me. And I looked in the pane of the Sinn Féin office's glass to get this reflection, and lo and behold, and it's caught on camera, there's a photograph, Gerry Adams come out. I said, Mr. McBlain, you're looking very suspicious, so what are you up to? And I told him I was doing a wee piece for the paper, and he shook my hand. We had a wee natter. He knew what I was doing on the CDs and the tapes and the DVDs. I'd met Ian Paisley 4 times in my whole life, and one of them was at a auction. His daughter Rhonda had paintings there, and I seen this particular painting and I thought I really liked that. It was a very obscure painting of this individual lying face down on a bed, and I'm looking at it and I got a tap on the shoulder. It was Ian Paisley. Mr. McBlain, I hope you're not thinking of buying that naughty painting. And I looked and I said, do you think that's naughty? He says, it certainly is. And away he went on with his wife filing. I remember doing a show one time. My late mother had died, and I was to do a show out by in Portrush it was actually, at a hotel. And I rang the chap up. I says, look, I says, I'm still going to come down and do this show. And he knew about it. He says, look, your mum died. Blah. I says, well, look, I says, with the greatest respect, she'd be the first one to say, you get your coat on and you get out there and you entertain people. And I found that to be the most difficult show ever I've had to do. And I tore the place apart. It was a spellbinding show. It was brilliant. And I come off and I was so relieved that I'd done it. I was near to tears when I got out of the place as well. And I sort of looked and I thought, some people say silly things. Look, Mum, that was for you. So, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to give it up. And secondly, of course, when the big hitters started to die, Paisley and Martin McGuinness, I thought, you had your time, you had a blast, you had a brilliant time, you made a good living out of it, you met some wonderful people, you met some brilliant entertainers, fellow comedians, well-known personalities. It got me all over the world as well, done tours with Van Morrison. So I really did have a blast. It was brilliant while it lasted. I get recognised quite a bit still. And you know, the thing about it is, it's nice, it's really nice. You still get people, maybe the odd, you know, punter shouting across the street, give us a blast of Big Paisley or a bit of Jerry Adams. And you obviously give them a wee bit of Paisley or Jerry Adams. It's actually quite nice to be recognised. But I've had a real ball and a real blast. And, you know, if it was to do it all over again, I would do it at the drop of a hat.